Hello dear friends, you are on the Melonfonk channel, and in this video we will talk about the secret facts of the new 29.0 update in Melon Playground. And guys, I want to say a huge thank you for writing a comment and getting into my video, and if you want your comment to be in my next video, just follow these simple conditions. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and write a cool comment. It's incredibly simple. Well, I won't waste your time, enjoy watching. So, dear friends, first of all, I would like to inform you that Update 29.0 has finally been released on all devices. So if you haven't downloaded this update yet, hurry up and download it. It's already available to you. But the video is not about that, of course, because I have found some very interesting facts about Update 29.0 for you. Let's move on to the first fact. All clothing can be turned into a balloon using an air staff. But of course, that's not the fact. I only recently found out myself that you can put this inflated clothing directly on NPCs, and it will work. Honestly, it all looks very funny, because huge heavy iron armor doesn't look so massive after it turns into a balloon, and it seems as if it weighs nothing. And you can inflate absolutely any piece of clothing, be it a beard, a pumpkin, a nose, or even boots. To be honest, I thought the NPC would fly away after a huge number of balloons. But of course that doesn't happen, but overall there's nothing scary about it. Still, this fact is very interesting and very funny. It's especially funny to me when you inflate a yellow protective lab coat and it turns into some kind of big yellow sleeping bag after inflation. It's a very cool fact, very unusual and very funny. Please rate it in the comments, because I think it definitely deserves 8 to 9 points. Be sure to try it yourself if you haven't already. Also write in the comments whether you knew about this. Now let's move on to the next fact. I think a few people know this, but if you take a watermelon and inflate it, place it in a nano assembler, an inflated NPC will fly out of it, and it really works. See for yourself? To do this, we needed an air staff and any fruit, it doesn't matter what kind, and then we simply turn the fruit into balloons and place them in the nano assembler. After closing the nano assembler, we get an inflated NPC. I don't know if the developers intended it to be this way, if it's a bug or feature, but I think it's really interesting and unusual because I've never seen anything like it before. Be sure to write in the comments if you knew about this, how you feel about it, and try it for yourself. I think it's really unusual and worth trying. Maybe it only works as a bug for me. What do you think about this? Write in the comments. Well, let's move on to the next fact. You may have known this fact, but to be honest, I didn't, and I didn't notice it at first. But a spirit can inhabit a robot, and the robot itself has a ghost and a spirit, which, in my opinion, is extremely illogical. It would be very cool if some staffs didn't work on the robot, because it's an inanimate NPC, and basically a piece of metal. How can it be a living soul, and how can something inhabit it? Okay, something can inhabit a robot, I can believe that. But why a spirit or ghost flies out of it is really strange to me. I wonder how many people knew about this, because I couldn't even imagine that it really works that way. At first it seemed to me that the ghostly staff didn't work on the robot, but when I double-checked, I was really shocked. Be sure to check it out for yourself, write what you think about it in the comments, and let's move on to the next fact. The next fact is also about ghosts, and I think few people have noticed, but a ghost can inhabit any of the staffs. And it really works very well, especially when the staffs start working on their own when a ghost inhabits them. That is, a fire staff can actually emit fire, or a glowing staff can make someone glow on their own. Well, on their own, there is a ghost there, but it's still very cool. But I think that many people knew about this, but few people know that a ghost cannot inhabit a staff with ghosts, and I don't know why it works this way. Maybe it's a trick by the developers and they assumed that players would try to do this and made it this way, and in fact, a staff with ghosts is almost the only item that a ghost cannot inhabit. I think you definitely didn't know about this, but if you did, write in the comments. And let's move on to the next fact. But here's something I think you definitely didn't know and didn't really notice. If a ghost inhabits an object or another ghost, it is practically impossible to remove it from there. For example, if a ghost inhabits an NPC, even if you kill the NPC, burn it, or try anything else, the ghost will not leave no matter how hard you try. And look, no matter what I did to this NPC, I tried to blow it up, I tried to burn it, I tried to just break it, but the ghost never left. And even after death, it remained in the skeleton, its eyes glowing, and it tried to move on its own. And I think you definitely didn't know about this. The same thing happens with objects. The ghost only leaves if you hit it with a ghost staff, only then will the ghost leave. Otherwise it doesn't care what to control and what to make move. I know you didn't know about this, but if you did, write about it in the comments and we'll see how many of us are cool and knowledgeable. Well, let's move on to the next fact. This fact is also quite interesting, and it's more of an interesting observation, because to be honest, I didn't notice it before recording this video. If you create a mutated melon and put a ghost in it, the ghost will immediately inhabit all the heads of the mutated NPC, meaning that all the eyes of the mutated NPC will glow. And that's actually how it works. To be honest, I thought that mutated NPCs were composed of separate melons, that is, all these heads live their own lives, but in fact they actually turn into a single huge NPC with different body parts glued together, and they are not separate parts of their organism, which is extremely unusual, and to be honest, I didn't think it worked that way. And the fact that the ghost essentially inhabits all the heads at once is understandable. In essence, this mutated NPC has many eyes, and it is natural that the ghost inhabits all of them at once. Write in the comments if you knew about this, and let's move on to the next fact. And last but not least, here's one more fact for today. In the nano assembler, the fruit balls we created earlier can mix together, and when the nano assembler is activated, the NPCs will also be mixed, and this actually works without any problems. To do this, you create fruit balls, and then place these fruit balls in the nano assembler, and then simply mix them. Another additional fact is that balls behave differently in space than they do in the city or on a regular map, which is understandable because there is no gravity there, and the ball simply flies up instantly, so fast that it can crash into the end of the map and you won't even notice it. So that's the interesting thing we have today. Write in the comments what facts you learned today. Like and subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you did. Well, that's the end of my video. Thank you all for watching, good luck to everyone, bye for now, and remember, my friend, as always, see you soon.